I don't know exactly how long it's going to last, but as of July 11th, 2020, Derrick Henry is an elite running back in the NFL, and I'll get to that in a bit. Just like I said, it's July 11th, 2020 here in this quarantine. I'm James Sims, and for this installment of The Elite, I'm just going to go into the running back for the Tennessee Titans, who's basically like a man amongst boys in the line, in the trenches. This dude basically built like a defensive lineman. He's been running over a lot of the NFL and the Titan, and he almost won the Super Bowl last year. So just to give you a little bit of insight into who Derrick Henry is, he is a 26-year-old running back for the Tennessee Titans. He stands in at 6'3", 250 pounds. Many people are aware of his high school feats where this dude was running 300, 400, 500 yards in games, 4 touchdowns. Like, this dude was probably one of the best Alabama high school college football players. Well, of course, it gets to the point where, he was a high school All-American. He was Florida's Mr. Football in 2012. Because, he came from Florida. And he was eventually picked up by Alabama to go play at Alabama. So, he was recruited by Nick Saban to play. His first season as a freshman in 2013, he played 10 games. And, he got a total of 400 yards from scrimmage. Didn't really run. He only ran the ball about 35 times, but he still averaged over 10 yards per carry as he got 382 rushing yards in 35 attempts his freshman year. In 2013, Alabama would go on to lose the Sugar Bowl to Oklahoma. In 2014, his sophomore season, he played in 14 games. He got 172 carries. He would finish with almost 1,000 yards on the ground, 11 touchdowns. He finished with 1,123 total yards from scrimmage, 13 total touchdowns. But once again, it was nothing really special for Derrick Henry that season. And that year, Alabama they would lose in the Sugar Bowl to Ohio State by a touchdown. But they're in Derrick Henry's junior season at Alabama, because that's how Alabama works. They pump out the players so that when they get to their junior season, they'll put together the best possible junior season to get themselves drafted. So of course, Derrick Henry was next in the rotation for Alabama running backs, and as a junior, he finished the year. He played 15 games. He had 395 carries for 2,219 yards in 15 games, 28 touchdowns on the ground, and then of course he had 91 receiving yards. But he ran for over 2,200 yards in his 2015 season. He would finish with he would be the SEC Offensive Player of the Year, first team All SEC, a unanimous All American, Walker Camp Award winner, the Doak Walker Award winner, the Maxwell Award winner. They won the college football national champion that year, and he was the Heisman Trophy winner. That was Derrick Henry's junior year, a very impressive one, and I'm pretty sure his 28 rushing touchdowns was a college football record. But that was what Derrick Henry had done up through his junior year at Alabama, where it's like when the lights shine the brightest and he was given the ball, this dude was getting his carries and he wasn't being stopped. So that's why, that's just one season though. He would eventually go on to be drafted 45th overall. He got drafted in the second round of the 2016 draft, 45th overall, to the Tennessee Titans. And since he's gotten there, he's really kind of had his last season. But before that, he's gotten a lot better. His first season, his age 22 season, he played 15 games for the Tennessee Titans, where he would finish with 600 yards from scrimmage, 500 of them on the ground. He was still fighting with yards with DeMarco Murray. His sophomore season, he would only start 2 of the 16 games. He would finish with 880 yards from scrimmage, 744 of them on the ground. He had 5 rushing touchdowns. His those seasons, his first season they finished 9-7. The second season they finished 9-7, but they made the playoffs. They would beat the Chiefs in the wild card game, and they would lose in the divisional round to the Patriots. In 2018, the Titans would go 9-7 for a third consecutive year, and in his age 28 season, or in his age 24 season in 2018, Derrick Henry set the record. He tied someone, I forget. He tied Tony Dorsett for the NFL's longest touchdown in a season. He ran a 99-yard touchdown. He finished with 1,000 yards on the ground, 12 touchdowns. And the Titans missed the playoffs completely this year, but he wasn't even a Pro Bowler. But as of last season, in 2019, this past season, he led the league in carries, rushing yards, and rushing touchdowns. In the 15 games that he started and played, he finished with 303 carries, 1,540 rushing yards, 16 rushing touchdowns, and he averaged 102 yards per game on the ground. This is the same dude that when he was at Alabama and they gave him all the carries, he led all of college football. Now that they do it in the NFL, he's shown that he is that player. He's basically built like a bowling ball where you just give him the ball and just let him run it. Tennessee has a pretty competent O-line, especially behind Taylor Lewan, with Taylor Lewan holding it down on the left tackle. But Derrick Henry, that's what the Titans have really been doing. They've been handing the ball off to Derrick Henry, especially in the playoffs, and he's been helping them really get wins. This past season, the Titans finished with they finished with their fourth consecutive 9-7 record, finishing second in the AFC South. They ended up beating the Patriots in the wild card round in the playoffs. They beat the Ravens 28-12 in the divisional round, and they lost to the Chiefs 35-24 in the AFC Championship. And Ryan Tannehill, Ryan Tannehill kind of led them up until that point. But Derrick Henry did a lot of the work on the offensive side. And even in the playoffs, in the 3 games that he played, he rushed for 446 total yards, which is still kind of saying a lot for how... I think it speaks a lot to how elite he is as a running back. I imagine when this season starts up, a lot of eyes will be fixated on Derrick Henry, see what he does in this Tennessee offense. I don't know what they're going to do with him yet, but I mean, if they decide to build around him, it's probably good to get receivers and probably give him a quarterback that can get the ball out of his hands. But I mean, whatever's working for them is working. I think as of right now, Derrick Henry is an elite football player with who because of his size and athleticism can put together a very, very strong peak season when it gets to it. I don't think his best season has come yet, so that's why I'm definitely trying to watch Derrick Henry this upcoming season. And I mean, he's only had 1 Pro Bowl season in his 4 years, but there's a very good chance he's entering his Pro Bowl run. So it's good to always kind of get a chance to observe it as early as you possibly can. So thanks for listening to all 8 minutes of this. I really appreciate this. But if you get a chance, look out for my boy Derrick Henry, number 22 for the Tennessee Titans. He's only made 1 Pro Bowl, but gee williker, did he have a wild last season. With that, I'm just going to sign off by saying I wish you well and peace out.